lighting and everything. Okay. Oh, so I'm in bed today. Another day that I thought I was going to be okay to get up and do things, and that is not the case. So, yes, I am Dr. Lueth. It is 11:07 a.m., October 9th, 2025, and uh, it seems like, yeah, I'm not doing as well this week for a lot of reasons. Um, and let me shut this. I can't test the light before I go live, so I kind of do it on the fly, and yeah, that's even worse. we're, we're playing with light today. That's not any better either. All right, well, whatever. Um, let me see. Yeah, we're just. I am. I'm like, hey, this doesn't look right. Let me try a sit up. Yeah, having some difficulties. Uh, like my hips really just. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get um a new hip for the holidays because I have pretty aggressive osteoarthritis, which I know is the fact because X-rays and MRIs, these things can be determined. Uh, and it seems like it's just getting worse. So I am actually on, as far as I know, lifelong pain management, not just for my hip, but I also have some older injuries that may not have healed entirely correctly. So as one gets older, as one gets older, these things can really cause issues. Um, and I also have uneven feet. Um, I may not have to wear a lift that my orthopedist is aware that I'm. So hopefully, when I do get my new hip, he, he said he's going to do what he can so that I'm a little more. Because when you have uneven, feet and you're not wearing a lift or some other kind of thing, right, it can put you out of joint in your lower back and other kinds of things. So this can happen. It's all a part of the joys of the human body. But I am going to talk more today about functional neurological disorder, which is not the only issue I have. If that was the only issue I had, I think things would be a lot easier. But that's not. So I do have medical conditions that are real and true. And some of them, like second opinion, I did get second opinion for fibromyalgia. And nowadays, it's easy to diagnose because there's, sensitive pressure points. Um, but functional neurological disorder it's a Parkinsonism, and it's not entirely all in your head. It can actually, yes, physical symptoms can become the reality due to extra um, what what can I call it? Extra stress that isn't really avoidable. You know, um, people putting stress on you and not understanding that it's not okay to do that. Um, and it's just I've had extra stress just generally in my life because by the time I turned 21, I knew that before I turned 30, I would have to be helping to take care of one or both of my parents. Okay. So I kind of, planned my life that way. And I did originally start when I was just getting ready to graduate from college. I did originally start going on USA jobs to see if I could get a park ranger position somewhere. And I made it pretty far in the process for a few places. It's just that I had to stop because, unfortunately, one of my parents got diagnosed with something uncool that was, you know, very, very life shortening, other kind of things. So, I just decided, okay, well, I'm just going to stay close to, within an hour drive so that I can make sure I'm close to them and kind of put things aside to be picked up later, or just, okay, well, that's not going to be possible. No big deal. Okay, I don't have negative feelings toward any of that. Okay, it's like I'm a family member. Okay, I'm the one who's mostly able to do it, and so it's like, yeah, no problem. I'll just right stay in Maryland or Pennsylvania, somewhere close, because I grew up right near the Pennsylvania border, um, even maybe Delaware. And so uh, that's just what happened. But I'm 53 now, and I have been going back and forth and back and forth. So I had a mystery illness for quite a while. Um, and, you know, maybe 20 years ago, fibromyalgia was not as easily diagnosed. A lot of people didn't know about it, and so on and so forth. But it actually affects your physical body. And one of the things that I've read consistently is that anybody with fibromyalgia, okay, you got to stand your ground and say, well, no, I can't push myself because I have fibromyalgia. You understand? So if you're an athlete, as much as it sucks, you should stop being an athlete. Okay? I mean, if you love the sport, you can talk about it or write about it, or get more of a desk job, or I don't even know. But anybody who has fibromyalgia, you have to learn. Okay? You have to learn. You have to go through that process of not pushing yourself because your body can't handle it. Okay? So I stopped talking to people on purpose because you don't really know what you're saying to me. And you're causing me issues that I should not have caused. Okay? People who have fibro, people who have written about it, doctors, people who right or have it, and a lot of work and research has gone into, we can't push ourselves. Okay, now I'm a self-motivated individual, and so through thick and thin, I've been able to kind of get up and go and do, but I can't do that. I just can't. And anybody who pushes a little too much, I stop talking to you. Amen. That's it. We're done. I don't care if I end up with zero friends because you're clearly not a friend of mine if you're not going to listen to me. And there are too many online putting extra pressure on me for stupid crap, and you don't know what you're talking about out your mouths. And you got to accept that. Accept the fact that you're causing me more issue than you should. Now, if you're actually doing that on purpose, I mean, yeah, you're a pretty big, obnoxious, rude asshole, is what I think. So, I have muscle rigidity, which can become an issue. Some days is better than others. I have to take a muscle relaxer. If I weren't taking a muscle relaxer, I would be like this a lot. And I would have one leg where I could barely bend it at the knee. So I've met people who've had mystery illnesses and it's taken a while, and some unfortunately pass away before it can be diagnosed. But me, yes, I've been through the mystery illness phase a couple times. And the reason why I mention functional neurological disorder is also because like I was diagnosed with GERD, okay, gastroenterological reflux disease, an actual real disease, people. Not everybody. Sometimes it's heartburn. No, that's not right. Tums were. Yeah, I was chewing through Tums like I owned stock in the company. I had in my desk because I worked at the university full time, and then went to school also. I'd open up my desk, had one of those big old Pepto Bismols. So I did go to a gastroenterologist, and I was given some information on changing up my food and other things. So I spent time doing that, but I was still having issues. And then I back, and yes, my little sphincter thing doesn't close entirely properly. And then at some point in my 30s, I was diagnosed with Barrett's esophagus, and I did get two opinions on that, and they both, so that's precancerous. So there's some things then. It's really more important, right, to go get the colonoscopy every other year, and and definitely some things just will agitate, your esophageal lining. So then I had a treatment. And now the last couple endoscopies I've had have not shown that. So perhaps the treatment worked, but um, I can only withstand so many surgeries because, over time, because of other things that have happened, um, my immune system is not as good as it used to be. So um, that's why there are some things that are immunosuppressants, and right. So it's just I couldn't really build back up my strength at a certain point to get to my regular baseline. So I have new baseline. Okay. Um, I've had it with anyone who tries to discuss anything with me online. Okay. When people have serious illnesses, you're supposed to make their lives easier. You're supposed to be more supportive and understanding and helpful. Okay. I can't exercise because if I do anything other than swim in a pool, and also I get vertigo, well, that's very difficult to overcome when you're swimming in a pool, too. Well, my medication apparently is not available So now I have to go extra steps to see if I can get it from a different pharmacy, or to see if someone in the program I'm in could, yeah, like use pay cash and get me some over the counter generic Dramamine or something. Um, because it seems like that's happening a bit too often. And yes, it's positional vertigo is what it's called. Um, so traveling for me is very difficult, and I don't really have a lot of money. And I'm just gonna stop using the internet. Because apparently some of you don't give a flying fuck, and you should. Well, you wouldn't want it happening to you, I can assure you, or your children, or someone you love. So regular people, doctors, we all have to give a shit a little more. So some of these symptoms I've had since my early 20s, and I've had issues with what I thought and what other doctors thought from the age of like 25 to like 40, was that I was having cataplectic events because of a sleep disorder, hypnagogic, yes, sleep paralysis. I started going through sleep paralysis when I, was out on my own and doing all this right. And like I said, I never felt threatened, ever, not once. I thought it was weird. Okay, the first time that it happened to me, I remember. Um, it was, it wasn't concerning. I didn't feel threatened. I just felt like, this is weird. Am I awake or am I asleep? I can't move, but I can see my clock. And then eventually, though, started moving around. And so, I mean, it to me did not feel like any kind of attack. And over time, I found out, right, that sleeping in the prone position could be, right, if you get you're slightly inhibited on breath, or you have slight apnea, it can happen. So I I'm a back sleeper, but I had to slowly but surely kind of train myself in sleeping to sleep on my sides, because if I sleep on my sides, it doesn't happen. Uh, so until I was like 40, I mean, I was just being treated by a sleep person, and all these kind of things. And but then things started really kind of like going downhill pretty quickly. It's like, okay, this is, I got this going, and I also have this going, and I get muscle weakness. Like, they'll just stop working. I'd be perfectly fine holding a cup of coffee, and then I don't know. Okay, these often, right, chaotic event, but then muscle rigidity started happening more and more, and then tremors that started right here on one side. So, like, you couldn't necessarily see it from the outside, but I felt it. And it was like stalling my reaction time on certain things. So, go to this doctor, go to that doctor. When you don't have health insurance, you pretty much just wait to die. United States of America. You're killing your own, and you need to stop right now. And if it's outside influence, you better figure it out right now. And I am asking the Holy Lord Father God to have mercy on us, right? Because there are some who won't. Because they think it's going to win them something. They think it's going to provide some sort of reward. They think it's a competition. They think that if they destroy their supposed air quote enemy, it's going to make their lives better. And that is false. But I'm telling the United States medical people, policymakers, all these kind of things, you're the reason that some of us give up and don't give a shit anymore. You're the reason a lot of people contemplate suicide, because they're not going to get mercy any other way but their own hand. I'm speaking truth, straight out. Okay? And some of us are allowed, when you have certain, illnesses. I have not had my parents taking care of me since I was in my teens. I don't have the luxury of having a day off. And I'm having a hell of a time right now even trying to talk. Nauseous, muscle rigidity over here. But over time, like little tremors, I could feel them. Well, at some point it happened when I was at a doctor's office. And I'm like, oh, come here. Put your hand there. And then they started feeling it. And it was happening to me with my fingers too. And occasionally, occasionally it would happen when somebody else was around. I'm like, oh, you can't stop that from happening. And then some Bell's palsy. Now, I'm an outdoors kind of person, and I have been bitten by a deer tick before. Gratefully, I did get the tetracycline in me quickly, and, apparently it did not end up, not from that, anyway, not from that one. But it could have been any point in time bitten me in the hair somewhere. Yeah, I mean, last one was on my butt, and the only reason I knew was because I was cleaning my butt, and I'm like, is that a pimple? I'm like, I got a pimple. I was trying to squeeze a pimple, and it wouldn't. Yeah, so I got a mirror. Holy shit. So yeah, I did all that Western blot and all that other kind of stuff. It's not fun when it gets to like stage 3 or whatever it is. So yes, gratefully, I spent a lot of time outdoors that I did not. And that was not the case. It still isn't the case. So you have to go through all these diagnoses to rule things out and, all this other stuff. So a psychosomatic, a somatoform, is an actual medical issue. Okay? It becomes an actual physical in your body medical condition, right? And if it's not addressed in a timely fashion, it actually harms part of your body to the point where it's kind of, past the point of no return. You are already, right, physically damaged in whatever area. Okay? So over the last 15 years, I tried to keep track of some symptoms, and I was having a really difficult time, and people weren't very helpful. I don't know who thought I was in competition, but you got it wrong altogether. So I'm pretty honest about certain things so that other people know, contributing to some conversation, you know. But anybody who's diagnosed with fibromyalgia, you just need to get this spread through everywhere like a wildfire. No one who has fibromyalgia should ever be required to push themselves in any way. And if you are an athlete, trust me when I tell you that I understand completely, but you have to stop being an athlete, no matter what kind. It's okay to cry about it. It's okay to be upset by it. It's okay to go through those emotions. You can't push yourself. Because at a certain point, your body, the entirety of you, will give out on you. So, if you have fibro, you can't. You have to make people understand that you can't. Okay? Because there's a lot of things you can do, and it's more known, and there's been more people talking about it and doing research, and I'm saying point blank, can learn to slow yourself down. Um, I'm had pressure on me from the age of 5 to be a highly productive individual. Very little forgiveness. So you have to get out of some of those mindsets that were put in you, and you have to reach out and just keep self-advocating and get in touch with people who do have fibro and tell your doctors and your friends and anybody else. It's like, well, clearly you don't know anything about fibromyalgia, and I do because I'm the one who has it. And no, I can't push myself. And no, I can't compete like that. No, I can't do that. Quite literally, no, I can't. Dr. fucking Charles Stanley. I'm not cured of fibromyalgia. Okay, and because the diagnosis of functional neurological disorder took so long in my life, this damage is permanent. And some medications can actually exacerbate that. And if you don't talk to a neurologist, I mean, gratefully, I pushed so that even though one specialist at Johns Hopkins University said it could be that, I did eventually get back in contact and say, well, now I have gastroparesis and I have this, and these are all starting to look like signs and symptoms of Parkinson's. And if you think you got Parkinson's, man, the sooner you get a diagnosis, the better. It's not just for men over 60. That is the most harmful statement I have ever heard. So we need to get our doctors updated, and you people need to give a shit. Otherwise, stop being fucking doctors. Every single general practitioner in the United States of America should know that it is possible, even in someone's 20s, to start showing signs of Parkinson's. People who aren't military people, sure, post-traumatic stress disorder. Any human being can get post-traumatic stress disorder. Any human being can. Some people are able to tolerate more than others, but I'm supposed to be doing something right now as a part being a resident here at Upper Bay Counseling and Support Services, but anybody from the state of Maryland, anybody having to do is but I can't. Because half of me wants to feel like I want to throw up. Okay, the other half of me hurts like hell. Okay, but I don't want to be all doped up. So I take low dose things. I get freaking needles in me all the time. I get nerve ablations. And they hurt a lot. Insurance companies and people you don't even know get online and try and give you lectures and talk about shit out the side of their fucking ass that they don't know a goddamn thing about, so I'm done. Is this the fucking world you all want to live in? I'm not going to repeat myself again. I've been sharing things online that so many people keep inside and they're fucking afraid to and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not. It is never a weakness, you dumb fucks, to admit that you're having an issue and you need help. It doesn't matter how manly a man you are or how tough a fucking woman you are, you all want to pretend that everything's okay, and that is the wrong way. If I know I am not physically capable of doing something and I say I'm not physically capable of doing it, well, then you need to believe me and trust what I'm saying out of my mouth. It took too long for me to get a proper diagnosis, so it's permanent damage. And I don't want it to happen to anyone else ever. And I need to be heard because I'm telling the straight out, balls out fucking truth. And it's the truth for every single human being walking on it. Luckily, gratefully, since I did push, I did get to go see another specialist over in the neurology department, movement disorders, who Dr. Chua. So, psychiatrist and a neurologist. And, I already done the work to know it wasn't targeted disconnection. And so, some things is well, maybe you don't want to take these meds there seem to be. And then one of them are well, I kind of have to because it's the only one that helps me with fibro. And some of the medication I was taking because it really came across to two sleep doctors that I had narcolepsy, which I still could have, but it turns out it's probably more likely, right, periodic limb movement disorder, which is a sleep disorder, which can also happen to people with Parkinson's. So if you don't get proper diagnosis, okay, because psychosomatic things and somatic, right? If they're caught early enough and you get, proper therapy, you get proper care and attention, and right, the stress is removed from you, and you get, the proper kind of support and other kind of stuff, your life gets easier. You can, right, you know, you get spared from having a lot of the physiological issues. Okay, so I mean, the sooner you kind of pick up on certain things, the better. But yes, I mean, I have physical tests that prove these things, and my osteoarthritis apparently is very aggressive, and there's no cure for it. And I do also have hidradenitis suppurativa. I mean, it's an ugly illness. It really is. Tried a biologic, but uh, my insurance company stopped covering it. I can probably get a generic, but having the ability to even get a ride to my dermatologist is a stress that's not fucking worth it. And yet, for some reason, I get that stress put on me because of somebody fucking using your statistics and your bullshit that doesn't actually apply to a human life needs to fucking step down right now, today. So I'm done online. Nobody has a right to talk to me anymore.